Hi, I'm LaQuette, the author of the upcoming rom-com Vanessa Jared's Got a Man, out September 20th on St. Martin's Press. So the first question, tell us about your book. What inspired you to write it? I love the rom-com genre. I love to read rom-coms, and I especially love to watch rom-com movies. But one of the problems that I have with rom-coms is that they are often um, written about women who are exceptionally young in their 20s, just embarking on life with very little experience in the world. And two, you very rarely see rom-coms centered around Black women. And so I wanted to write a book where those two things were centered, where my characters were in their 40s instead of their 20s, where they had had some life experience behind them and they were now embarking on this new phase of their lives as divorcees, and that they were Black women and sister girls, and showing the world how found sisterhood is amazing, but through the Black woman gaze. Show us your book cover. This is my amazing book cover, and it was created by Bo Fang Lin, an amazing artist who has done previous works for friends of mine like Alexis Daria. Um, and I, I gotta say, I was not really all that thrilled about having an illustrated cover when I found out that my cover would be illustrated. And one of the reasons was some of the books that I had seen, some of the covers that I'd seen didn't really the characters didn't really seem to have features on them. And representation is extremely important to me in both my work and my covers. And so I always want my characters to be represented realistically on the cover. So readers, have an idea of what my characters look like, but also so that readers understand who they're getting as their main characters. But fortunately, I listened to my amazing editor, Monique, who was like, no, 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 it's going to be fine. I promise you, it's going to be fine. And she was right, it was. And Bo, as you can see, did a phenomenal job on this cover. I defy you to look at this cover and tell me that it's not one of the prettiest covers you've ever seen, because it just quite frankly is. And in my head, I'd casted Gabrielle Union, whom I adore. So if you're watching this, Miss Union, please understand that I'm a fan. I want to see you on all things and everything. And if Vanessa Jared's Got a Man ever becomes a movie, I will beg to have you take on the lead role. And the male character is modeled after Daniel Henney, who again is just gorgeous. Bo delivered. Like these people are amazing. They are just too pretty for words, pretty much. Where do you like to write? I like to write in my office. And one of the reasons why is because when I go downstairs to go into my office and write, it really sort of gets me in the headspace that this is work, right? That this is not a hobby. It's not something I'm just doing for fun. This is actual work. If this is not your debut, how was the writing process different for this book? Well, Vanessa Jared's Got a Man is in fact not my debut. I have been writing since I think my first published book came out in 2013. It's not my first book, but it is my debut rom-com. Being a rom-com, it was the first time I actually had to think about adding levity and comedy to my work. I am not a ha ha funny kind of person, but I am highly sarcastic. And I think if you sort of understand sarcasm and understand that sort of dry humor, you'll get this book, you'll get these characters. What's your writing process like? Are you more of a pantser or a plotter? I am a natural pantser, right? Unfortunately, as a traditionally published author who is not setting her own deadlines for the most part, um, it's a little bit difficult for me to be a pantser. When I was self-publishing, I had deadlines, but they were deadlines that I set. So, I could pretty much sort of navigate my life around them without much of an issue because I was setting them at the most appropriate times for myself. That's not the case as a traditional author. Sometimes I don't really have a say over the deadlines, which can cause a little bit of complication with, regard to scheduling with the rest of my life. I really need to know what I'm writing when I'm sitting down to write now. So what I do to sort of combine the two and make me more of a plotster is I started writing synopses. And yes, they are evil, and I still believe that they are evil, and I hate doing it. But the benefit of having a synopsis for a project is that I know where I'm going and I know what the high points of the story are. And so I can sort of write them, more effectively. What research uh, was required for this book, and what was the most fascinating thing you discovered? One of the things I love learning about is other cultures. I love the exploration into culture because I really feel um, learning about other people's cultures, it really helps us understand people a lot more. It helps us understand who they are and why they are the way they are. It also helps us celebrate each other a little bit more when we have serious interest in each other's cultures. I really enjoyed learning about Korean culture, especially like a little bit of Korean American history, like when the first major wave of uh, Korean immigrants came into the United States, and how that even impacts um, Korean Americans to this day. And so I found it really, really interesting. And I used that information very much to sort of characterize and build Michael's character in the book. His culture definitely informs who he is as the only son and firstborn to a Korean American family. It very much influences how he sees the world, his worldview, as well as how he connects with the other people in his life. Describe your protagonists in 3 words. For Vanessa, I would say sensitive or vulnerable, fierce, and hopeful. Um, are there books, movies, or pieces of music similar to your book that readers would also enjoy? Absolutely. This series really, and this story in particular, it pays homage to Terry McMillan's How Stella Got Her Groove Back, as well as Waiting to Exhale. I think if you sort of merge those two stories together, or those two movie adaptations together, you would see a lot of similarities. I, as a woman in my 20s, I grew up reading stories by Terry McMillan, and I absolutely adored her stories of just looking at female Black women, emotional evolution um, from phase to phase in our lives. And as I said earlier, we don't really often get the chance to see Black women having those exploratory situations where they're, learning about themselves and moving on. Many of our stories that are told by others in the media and in different forms of media um, are often rooted in struggle and strife and pain. And we don't often get to see us having joy. And I think Terry McMillan did an amazing job of showing that even through hardship, we still have joy and we still find joy. And I take that to heart as a writer, especially as a Black woman writing Black women. I want people to understand that Black joy exists. What do you hope readers take away from your book when they finished? I think it just goes back to that whole Black joy thing. I want people to see Black women just having an amazing, loving, and supportive time. I want them to see us, um, that we are diverse even within our own communities, that we are not a monolith, we're not all the same. And I especially want people to know that that whole angry Black woman stereotype is a lie, a whole lie. And I want Black women who read this book to engage with this book and get that feeling of familiarity, that where they've had those moments, those sister girl moments with their found sisters. I want I want people who are not Black reading this book to learn about Black women, to see us in a different light, to see us being happy and thriving, to see our joy and see that that joy is infectious. What are you working on next? I am working on book 2 in the Savvy, Sexy, and Single Club, which would be Janae Sanders' book. Janae and Michael's best friend, one of his best friend, Adam, are the protagonists for this second story. And they are sort of an oil versus water kind of couple. They've known each other since they were in high school. Well, they've known each other since they were kids. And they've always had this ongoing rivalry between each other. Not that they hated each other, but they just were constantly competitive. And it just kind of got a little out of hand. That's it. That's all. Thank you, St. Martin's Press, for this opportunity to share a little bit with the people. And if you want to continue to learn more about me and my writing, you can go to www.laquette.com. That's www.laquette.com. See ya. Peace.